Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Community Relations at Jovia Financial Credit Union, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, CEO, keeper of the brand marketing and digital agency, and we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we give you the top business leaders in the community and in the industry. So, Ray, here we are again. It's so good to see your face and for another week and talk business. Yes,
and we're very motivated today. So I'm glad that we have who we have with us today. So helping provide us with business empowerment is Yvonne The Motivator, Mann, author, motivational speaker, and life coach. Yvonne, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How are both of you today?
Well, awesome now.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, you are truly a queen, a jack of all trades, as you say, a queen of all media, jack of all trades. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, you are way too kind, queen of media. Yeah, that's great. But honestly, I'm just a chick that has gone through a lot. And I just want to help women, live their dreams. That's it, to let them know that no matter what is going on or what has happened, whatever stumbling blocks that are in their way, they can make it happen. They can do exactly what they want to do. And that's where I got the name from. I didn't name myself. Other people named me the Motivator because I'm always telling people, you can do it. You can do it. Queen of all media. Yeah, it is wonderful to, be on Rudy Radio. It is wonderful to have two shows on Rudy Radio, Determined Women of Destiny, which is a show that highlights female entrepreneurs. And, He Said, She Said is number one. He Said, She Said takes, topics that may be a little bit heavy, and myself and my co-host add a little slapstick to it, just to give you some humor during this time of Miss Corona.
I love the way you emphasize the Miss Corona. Yeah. I don't know how the other ladies are going to feel about that. I think that's a man issue.
I don't think a man could have came in and just sucked everything up like that. That's a woman type thing.
Power on both sides of the fence. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You mentioned Rudy, and just for our listeners, tell us a little bit about Rudy, about your affiliation here.
Okay, Rudy Breedy is the creative producer for Rude Radio. He also has Rude Rangers Entertainment, which I am a proud partner of. And his radio and entertainment brings together people from different walks of life to give them a platform to just show what they do, and then to invite other people to have access to their products and services.
That's fantastic. Yeah, Rudy is definitely a friend of the show, and we support him and everything that he does. So it's so happy to have a member of his extended team on the show. So tell us a little bit about Motivating Man and the book project that you wrote.
Okay, I have a pamphlet that's called Designated Survivor, and it talks about the African-American woman's passage from slavery to now. It gives women, it's pamphlet / workbook. So there's questions in there that they can ask themselves. It has an area where they can write down their answers. And it's just to give them the ability to look at what they want to do, to figure out how they may do it, and to know that if we survived all of that, then what's happening now is light stuff. And once again, my mantra always is keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets done.
Now that's a whole lot to push people forward, and you definitely need a blueprint in order to go through this crazy life and world that we're living in.
My life coach, it's funny you said blueprint. My life coaching business, Mann Consulting Concepts, and that is my tagline: building blueprints for success. And again, that is to encourage and inspire and motivate women to living their dreams. The magic happens every day. People just have to know that it does.
Now, how do you find people to work with?
I've been blessed. Most people find me. They've heard about me, and then they find me on social media. A lot of times before Miss Corona, I would reach out to agencies and let them know what my services are. I have a program called Empowered and Encouraged, and that is for women who have been chronically homeless to deal with the foundational issues that cause homelessness. It's just not about, I don't have a place to stay. It's about what led up to the day that you had to pack everything up in a black garbage bag, and then you're always packing up your stuff in a black garbage bag. There's a lot of things that as women, we self-sabotage ourselves, and we have to look at our relationships first and foremost, because who you're spending your time with the most has a great impact and influence on what's going on in your life.
Do you think, I don't want to call it generational curses, but, is it, the curse of a woman that we keep repeating the same things over and over again in our lives that lead us to that black garbage bag, or is it by chance?
You said it first, and you can say it is a generational curse. If mom is chronically homeless and raises her children in the shelter, it is a very good chance that her daughter will raise her children in the shelter. I'm a firm believer, children live what they learn. And yes, there are someone could be listening and say, hey, I grew up in the shelter system and I'm, a brain surgeon. Absolutely, that could happen. But unless you are taught skills to live a really good life, it's very hard for you to do exactly that. Many times, women who raise children in a shelter system can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if they have a child that's a bright light, they sometimes dim it. And the reason why is because how dare you feel that you should have more than what I have? And it makes them look at themselves and say, how I have not given you more. So yes, it is definitely generational. Unfortunately, statistics show that a mother on social service will have a child that will be on social service, that will have a child that would be on social service, that will have a child that will be on social service. And it's really time to break that cycle. And my program, just not because I've written it, it's a really good program. I look at everything, women who have been evicted many, many times because their apartment's not clean. And they'll say, but no, I clean it. Cleanliness is relative. And you have to show someone what exact clean is so that they can follow that to keep where they live clean. Because for me, throwing everything underneath the bed isn't clean. Just because everything looks clean, you cannot throw everything underneath the bed. Just because your dishes are washed, you still have to wipe your counters down on a regular basis with some type of cleaning solution and clean the floor. And there are women, believe it or not, that is foreign to them. Absolutely foreign.
Now, Yvonne, that means no hiding the toys in the closet.
You better not where I live.
It's a tough road. And if you're not raised with those types of habits, we're going to call them habits.
Yes.
Then it's hard to teach your old dog new tricks. And that's why they're so lucky to have you.
Thank you. It's very hard when you don't know that really the world is your oyster, to coin a phrase, and you don't know that you're the next best thing. You don't run after it. And that's what breaks my heart, because I come in contact with so many wonderful women, and, they just need that spark. They just need, they're like a match that just needs to be struck on that matchbook for them to take off. And I say to myself, how is it that you came to this point and no one ever said to you, girl, you got this? I just don't understand that. So that's my passion. I'm the one that's going to tell you, you can do. I am your personal cheerleader.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of National Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Yvonne The Motivator, Mann, author, motivational speaker, and life coach. So how do you stay motivated yourself? I mean, obviously, you're very passionate about what you do, and it's impactful. You're breaking the cycle, you're changing lives. How do you stay motivated? Because it has to be tough talking to people and hearing such difficult times that they're going through.
It's my faith in God. That's it. It's my faith in God. And not only am I listening to their stories, I'm trying to make it through the muddle of this life myself. So if it wasn't my faith, I would never be able to make it through. Prayer to me is like a vacation. Once I come out, I'm revived and I'm like, okay, bring it. I can eat it for lunch. Let's go.
I love it. Yeah, my father-in-law used to tell me, he'd say, I'm not going on vacation. I don't need to go on vacation. I can close my eyes and I'm on vacation. And then I open, ready to go.
That's funny. I had an old DJ I used to work with. He said, why are you guys always saying you're going to a hotel? Change the curtains and you'll be okay.
Change the curtains. I love that. I love it.
Right?
Curtains or the virtual background in the Zoom.
Absolutely is where we are now, right? So,
yes.
So Yvonne, how have you adjusted in the population that you work with? How have they adjusted during this COVID time period?
It is very hard. My regular gig, I am the community engagement specialist for Long Island Coalition for the Homeless, and we never stopped working. We didn't realize we were essential workers until well into May. We're like, oh yeah, well, we're essential workers. We're doing this every day. It was really tough. The food pantries weren't open. Social service wasn't open. People needed services that they just couldn't get and still cannot get. And depression was one of the biggest things that the case managers happened to encounter. And then with my life coaching, it's depression. Some people can't take just being in the house. Me, I live alone. I really don't care if you knock on my door or not. You don't have to ring my phone. I'm good. As long as I have some iced tea and a television, I don't need you. I really don't. But a lot of people couldn't take just staying inside of the house. And, it was really getting to them. Everybody was so happy when we could just go out for a little bit. You don't realize how socialization is so effective to your well-being and your everyday life.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm an introverted extrovert, I call myself. It depends on the day. So I was also just fine. And, you have to have a tribe of people that motivate you to help you come out of that funk and that depression. So what are some of the things or tools that you do, or how do you work with your friends or family to kind of get them motivated out of that funk? Because I'm going to call it a funk. It's
Well, luckily for me, the people that are around me, they weren't in that funk.
Okay.
My daughter and my grandchildren, are you kidding me? I have 2 grandkids that definitely are so much fun. And, I have my daughter and my mom and all of my friends, being around them and just talking about how we felt about the situation of being in a quarantine. I lost my grandmother in March, and it wasn't to Corona. My grandmother was 103. And they weren't telling her the reason why my mother and my aunt couldn't come see her. And I said, why not? Well, she won't understand a pandemic. I said, you kidding me? She was born in 1916. Do you know she totally understands this? So they did explain it to her, and she was like, well, why didn't you just tell me before? They were just thinking she wouldn't catch it. But just going through that, losing my grandma, my family just, binding together and sticking together, we're making it through. Luckily for me, the people around me are just as bubbly as I am. And I really didn't see any dark moments. Just, I had just burying my grandmother in the way we had to do it, because the quarantine had just started and social distancing and nobody knew what was going on, and that was the worst time of it. But on a regular, it was okay. It was okay. Now, as far as my clients that I speak to, my life coach clients, my business did take off a lot because people really needed someone to talk about, well, what's my next step? And really, that's what life coaching is. You tell someone all of your ideas that's up in the air, they pull them down and help you put it in place, make priority of what you want to do. So speaking with all of them, yes, I told them, get with your friends, do phone calls. And I like to do sister chats, call up all your girls and put them on conference or, get on Zoom and just do Zoom talks, anything to keep you going.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Yvonne The Motivator Mann, author, motivational speaker, and life coach. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Yvonne, bringing your positivity to the people you speak with is very important. You've taught people much, and you're making an impact by breaking that cycle, as we talked about. What are some of the things that you have learned in working with your clients and in working with the community?
Working with my clients, we're all in the struggle together. So many women think they're alone. It's just me going through it. And the one thing I've learned more than anything else, this human experience is not one of the easiest things to navigate. But with the right tools, you can get the job done. Another thing that I'll say, just working with the community, is there's not enough compassionate people out there. It's bad enough that you have to suffer through something and then you come in contact with someone that doesn't have the passion to help you. It's not even compassion. It's the passion to help someone else. You're only as good as the person you can help. And we all go through stuff. So you hope that when it's your time to go through something, that someone will give you a helping hand and be there for you also, even if it's just a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, I agree. I think empathy is so important. And that's something that I've seen. And I think throughout COVID and throughout the pandemic and the challenges that we've had, I think we're all in this together. When we focus on that is when we're our best, because we all know, look, things are tough. And if we hang in there and we be together for each other, I think that's very important. I think that's a very good lesson that you teach, to keep the empathy. And I think especially now with such a divide, yes. And that's got to be tough. How are you reacting to that? And how are you feeling about that? And how are the people you speak with, how are they feeling? And how are they coping?
The divide you speak of, are you speaking about our country at this time and what we're going through?
Yeah, I mean, and to me, it's more than that because, certainly I don't want to get too much in the weeds with politics. It's more a divide socially. It's more like, people get so extreme, and it's, I think that we need to be more empathetic.
I agree. I absolutely agree with you. Because we have more in common than we have differences. And it's time for us to get this right. You would think that all these years that we've been on this planet, that we would understand. You would think. But we have a lot to learn when it comes to just interacting with another human being. And I myself, it's not for anybody else, it's just for Yvonne. I know I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So my interaction with people has to be very organic because, like the Frankfurter, I answer to a higher calling.
Love it.
That being said, Yvonne, what are some of your accomplishments that you're most proud of? I mean, you have an extensive background. You've touched so many people. What are some of the things that, we can really just, share with the world today that makes you who you are?
My greatest, finest hour was July 16th, 1985, the day I gave birth to my daughter. That is my foremost and will always be the greatest thing that has ever happened to me in my life. Now, outside of all of that, there are so many things that I can really touch on. But one of the greatest things is that God has entrusted me with his people. He has allowed me to be in this world and to interact with his creation in a way that is positive.
Absolutely. And now you're the motivator, but who's motivating you? So who's motivating you?
Every life coach has a life coach. Believe that. And I do have someone that I go to, D.E. Boone. He is an author. He is my life coach. And he is definitely fantastic. He helps me put my stuff in perspective and sets me on the right course. But like I say always, first and foremost, when stuff starts going crazy, I go to my knees and I go to prayer.
Now, Miss Motivator, you haven't really bragged about yourself. And I think you might want to do that because you have a lot to brag about. As I say, you're a queen of all media. You're a motivational speaker. You have the show with the Rude Rangers, with Rudy, and you're also an author yourself. So can you tell us a little bit about some of your written work?
That Designated Survivor is like the biggest thing right now. I'm working on putting my workshop, this thing called Single, into a book also. This thing called Single is a guide for women who have been single for a while. I'm a woman of a certain age. And, in the world of Christianity, it's a lot different than outside of Christianity, and how to, just navigate through that. As far as the radio is my home. I love doing radio. It was 3 years ago that I went to a radio station with a friend who was nervous. I put on headphones. I heard my voice in my ear for the first time ever. And I said, this is where I want to be. So I'm really glad that I have that opportunity. My maiden name is Poole and my initials, YAP, Yvonne, Y, Annette, A, Poole, P. So from the beginning of time, I was destined to do what I'm doing now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are grateful and blessed to have you a part of their life. You're touching so many people in from uplifting them to motivating them. And that's truly a gift. So thank you for sharing that with the world and for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Now, if you had to leave our listener with one thing, if they get one thing out of this conversation that we're having today, what would that one thing be?
I will leave you with what my father told me and taught me. And that's where my mantra comes from. Keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets done. My father told me a story when I was very young. He said, do you know the difference between a rich man and a poor man? I said, yeah, rich man got money, poor man don't. My father said, no. The rich man said, I'm going to take a chance. And the poor man said, I don't think I can do it. The only difference between you being successful is you not putting the work in. Put the work in. There's not one dream that you cannot make happen. You take that dream, you put it in some goals, and you will see achievements. Magic happens every day. Just believe.
Believe in yourself. Take a chance.
Yes.
Tell us what's next for you, and please give us your full information, like where we can find you.
Well, what's next is Determined Women of Destiny will be bigger and better than ever. That is my talk show. And you can see that, hear that you can't see it on Facebook and YouTube. That's every Thursday tonight at 7 p.m. And then He Said, She Said. You can also access that on Facebook, but it's on both on Rudy Radio. He Said, She Said is Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on Facebook. My life coaching, Why Man Consulting Concepts. You can reach me at YvonneMann07@gmail, or you can call my business number 516-564-3836. And what's next? What's next is Determined Woman of Destiny. I'm getting that on TV. Oh, that's going to be on TV. Yes. Someone said to me, oh, you want to be the next Lisa Nichols? No, I can't be Lisa Nichols, but I'm definitely going to do a heck of a job being Yvonne the Motivator, man.
Oh, I love it. And you keep pushing that forward, and we look forward to viewing you on TV soon. So thank you for joining us today and being a guest on our show.
Thank you.
Now, DB, you have some philosophy as well.
I do. My DB's philosophy of the day is women belong in all places where decisions are being made. It shouldn't be that women are the exception. Our dearly beloved Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
All right. Thanks again for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, your co-hosts and producers. This is an NCC Foundation Business Leaders Council production. Visit ncc.edu/WHPC for more information. Available on iHeartRadio, as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.